Hey everyone, and welcome back to Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel, and welcome to this 1982 horror movie review video as part of my current ongoing 1980s horror series. So the movie we're going to take a look at today is a slasher from 1982, and it is one that I have the physical media for. I have it on DVD, and that movie is Unhinged, and released in 2005 from BCI. Eclipse. So you can see the back. There's some special features there. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Unhinged. Get my notes here. So Unhinged is a 1982 American slasher film directed by Don Gronquist in his directorial debut, written by Gronquist and Reagan Ramsey. The film follows three young women who, after suffering a car accident, are taken by a mysterious spinster and her infirm mother at their rural mansion. Over the course of the next several days, the women are stalked by an unseen killer. So it opens on October 22nd, 1981. College students Terry, Nancy, and Gloria embark for a music festival in rural Washington. While driving on a forested road, the women smoke marijuana in the car, while a news radio broadcaster announces the recent disappearance of two teenage girls in the area. A sudden storm causes Nancy to accidentally crash, rendering all three unconscious. Terry awakens to find her and her friends alive, sheltered in an isolated mansion owned by the Penroses, the middle aged spinster Marion, her mother, and their groundskeeper Norman. Gloria is the only one with serious injury, so Marion suggests they spend the night until Gloria is able to leave. Terry and Nancy are invited to dinner with Marion and her elderly, senile, crippled mother. Throughout dinner, Marion's mother rants and raves, espousing her mis- misandrous views and recounts how her husband left her for another woman when the family lived as socialites in Rhode Island. Basically, she hates men, is what misandrous means. She also recur she also recurrently accuses Marion of bringing men into the home. Later, while the women relax in the parlor, a mysterious man watches them through the window. So yeah, that's the setup and the premise for the beginning of Unhinged from 1982. As far as the cast goes, we have Laurel Munson as Terry Morgan, Sarah Ainsley as Nancy Paulson, Janet Penner as Marion Penrose, as IEGE Penner, Virginia Settle as Mrs. Penrose, Barbara Lush as Gloria, John Morrison as Norman Barnes, and Bill Simmons as Carl Penrose. So yeah, let's just set up the premise and the cast for the 1982 slasher Unhinged. Um, this is an interesting movie. I think it's a better horror movie than it is a slasher movie. Even though definitely I could see why they qualified as a slasher movie. That definitely has slasher elements in it, but um, yeah, I don't know. Um, it works in some ways and not in others. So let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the things that I liked about the movie, the pros for Unhinged. And I really liked the opening and the ending of this movie. The opening I enjoyed with the three female characters, driving down this wooded road and getting caught in a rainstorm, and taken to this strange mansion. That just feels like a great setup for a horror movie. It's just everybody knows my love of highway horror, like on a wooded road or a dark road. Um, you kind of see the point of the view of the car and stuff. I just love those kind of horror movie setups. So I really did like the first 10 or 12 minutes of the movie as far as the setup goes. The last 10 or 15 minutes of the movie as well is really intense with an amazing twist reveal that I certainly didn't see coming. But it really works effectively, and the movie ends leaving you having like that punch in the gut. It ends on a very dark note, and I really like that. It's very dark. Also, the musical score of the movie is really in your face. It's definitely unforgettable. It doesn't blend in with a lot of other just random or generic scores. Early 80s synthesizer kind of a score, basically, and that works really well for this movie. Um, Another pros, there are a couple of nude shower scenes. One right away at the beginning of the movie, like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes in. And then there's a second one, probably about 20, 30 minutes into the movie with that one has full frontal nudity of one of our characters. So yeah, if that's something that you look for in your slashers, there is nudity here. It does meet that slasher, early '80s slasher checkbox, I should say. And then the other thing, this movie has a lot of great atmosphere. I think because of the score, because of the this mansion that it takes place in, and just kind of the like it's lightning and it's raining a lot. They kind of give you that picture of the mansion, um, kind of like an old school horror picture where you got this almost this haunted house or mansion, and you got the thunder and lightning and the rain coming down. They definitely use that to the utmost in this movie. But overall, like in this mansion with these characters and the music and everything, there, the movie does have some good atmosphere. It really does. Some of the stalking scenes, there's some good setup and a good payoff at the end. And even though the entire middle doesn't work entirely, which we'll get into in my cons here, there are some stalking scenes of somebody stalking these gals in the mansion that I thought really added some tension and added to that overall atmosphere. Also, the setting, just having like this gothic mansion, sort of again isolated, kind of away from civilization and stuff, off this wooded road. I think also is a nice, as I've said in other reviews, it's a nice sort of canvas to have some horror go on. So yeah, those are my pros for Unhinged from 1982. As far as cons go, it's the middle of the movie, like the 45 or 50 minutes of the movie after the first 10 and before the last 15 or so. It really drags at times. It really does. I almost dozed off a few times, if I'm being honest. Lots of exposition and dialogue scenes with characters just laying or sitting around where not much really happens in terms of kills or action, things like that. There is some stalking, as I mentioned, that goes on, and some of that's done pretty well, but there's either not enough of it or even that's kind of boring in some certain instances. So, yeah, that's the biggest problem about this movie. I think if they could have ramped it up a little bit in the middle part of the movie's only 80 minutes. It's an 80-minute movie, which means it's only an hour and 20 minutes. And the fact that it actually felt longer than that, that's always a problem with a movie. That means they have a little too much padding, a little too much dragging in certain scenes in the movie. That's definitely the case here, the biggest con that I can come up with. Also, the acting, particularly by the younger actresses, the three gals that we meet at the beginning, it's really pretty wooden without a lot of emoting or emotion that's given when it's needed. So yeah, I know acting's never been a great thing in early '80s slasher movies, but it's pretty noticeably bad in this movie. I felt like by the younger actresses, some of the older actresses like Marion, that character, she does well, and they do fine. Nobody does great, but I mean, the acting's definitely something that's not a strength of this movie. There are the other big con I would say that most people are going to have, especially with this being a slasher movie. There are only a total of 3 kills in the entire movie. And they are mostly cut away or off screen with some blood splatters on the wall or a curtain or how it goes, something like that, clothing. But there's no real gore here. Um, if you're going to have a movie like this with those sort of dragging scenes at times, you gotta up the kill count. I think if they would have had 5 to 6 kills total and had 3 more, let's say in that middle 45 to 50 minute section, because let's say you don't get the first one until like 40, 45 minutes into the movie. Then you get another one about an hour and 5 minutes into the movie. And then you get another one at the very end of the movie, like the last scene. And that's probably the best kill, I would say, the very ending one, the last scene. Part of it's just because it's so shocking by what's been revealed and everything. But it's probably the best one in terms of actually seeing slash marks and just the brutality of it. The other two are just kind of after the fact sort of kills. You get the blood splatters and stuff. So there is blood, but no real gore. Also, there's some night scenes. They shot some at night. That's really hard to see with really not enough lighting or the way the camera work is done. The way they shot it doesn't look great. Um, and this is a DVD. I'm guessing they probably don't have. I don't know if they have a Blu-ray for this movie, and even if they do, I don't know that it's cleaned up to where that's not an issue. But obviously, it still was on here. Um, and then another con I have is They're editing transitions between scenes. They completely fade to black before they another scene starts, and that got a little annoying after a while. In fact, the movie actually opens up with just sound and a black screen, and then all of a sudden somebody flicks on the light as they're in bed yet. It's in the morning. So they did a lot of that to really slow fade out to black and then kind of fade back in. The transitions weren't my favorite, and again, I'm sure that was a budgetary thing, but also a style thing that I really didn't care for. But yeah, the biggest problem's the middle of the movie. But overall, guys, I have to say I'm not going to get rid of this. I'm glad to have it in my collection. Is it the best slasher ever? No. Is it the best slasher of 1982 even? No. Um, and I think that's kind of its downfall. I think it definitely has slasher elements in it, but I don't think it works as well as it could have as a slasher movie. I think it probably works a little bit better as just a thriller horror movie, if you will. And on that basis, I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for Unhinged. But the thing to know here is if you're going into it is expecting to see a slasher like Prom Night or the Slumber Party Massacre or something like that that really has a high body count, you're going to be disappointed. So just kind of know that going in as kind of a fair warning there. But I do like the beginning. I really like the end of the movie. The last 15 minutes or so with the twist reveal, I thought was really well done, and it kind of had my jaw on the floor if I'm being honest about it. And so that almost made up for the middle part of the movie, almost. This movie would probably be more like an 8.5 or out of 10 if they would have had more kills in the middle to kind of pick up the middle part of the movie. But as it was, it's not exceptionally well paced, especially with the kills only being 80 minutes. It still drags a bit. So 7 out of 10 for Unhinged from 1982. Go ahead and comment down below if anybody's seen this movie, your thoughts about it. If you have any questions or comments on it, please comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this series, but also my horror content that I have coming out after this. So with all that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying this overall 1980s review series, specifically for 1982. And as always, you know what? Stay scared. Bye.